Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be giving you guys a very important injury update on Chase Young and Logan Thomas, how they're recovering from their injuries and when both of them are expected to come back. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Super close to 8,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And again guys, sorry if you guys hear any background noise. I'm on vacation and it's kind of loud over here. So as you guys know, Chase Young and Logan Thomas are both coming off big time injuries last season, both of them coming off of ACL injuries, and both injuries a little bit different. You know, Logan Thomas had some other things going on as well, meniscus, but also Chase Young had a more complicated surgery. So both kind of have different timetables and both are crucial parts for the Washington Commanders. I think Chase Young is more important, like his, how well he plays and how early he comes back is more important than Logan Thomas, but Logan Thomas is still a very important part of this offense and is one of the better players on this team. Was a team captain last year and played really well in 2020, and when he did play last year, he was pretty solid. So both these guys are very important to the Washington Commanders' success this season. And kind of this whole offseason, I was kind of thinking that Chase Young would have more of a chance to be ready for week 1 than Logan Thomas, but some reporting from John Keim, has kind of changed that, perspective for me and kind of reversed it. Let me go over some of the things that John Keim said on his podcast, and I'll link the, YouTube video in the description, and really good podcast, but I put it on my Twitter, and he said, John Keim said that he thinks Chase Young will be back at the earliest by mid-September, thinks the target will be around that time. He also kind of mentioned they don't want to rush him, even though he's been doing great things. It doesn't make sense to really rush him back and get him back like a week or two early, and then maybe things go downhill in terms of the recovery. So they're kind of aiming for mid-September, and hey, if things go right, maybe he's ready by week 1 if things go well, but if not, maybe it'll be late September. And mid-September, week 1 is September 11th. I believe that's when they play. So if he misses a game or two, every game is important, of course, and every team, every game you play is going to be a tough game. It's the NFL, but if there's 2 games they can afford for him to be out for, it's the Lions and it's the Jaguars. So, mid-September is anywhere from like September 10th to the 25th. So if he's back, let's say I think the first game's 11th, so let's say you start on the 11th, then the next game's the 18th. If he's back on the 25th for week 3, that is totally fine. Missing a couple games, and then it'll probably take him 4, 5, 6 more games to fully get back into things. And that's why I think the second half of the season is what we need to judge Chase Young by next, at the end of the year, because the second half of the season is when he's going to hopefully be close to 100%, not only health-wise, but kind of mentally as well, coming back from that injury, because, it usually takes some time for these guys to fully be back in. It's totally different position. I always bring up this comparison, but Joe Burrow, it took him a while. Like the first half of the season, he was solid, but the second half of the season and in the playoffs, he was absolutely insane. So I think Chase Young might, he might be a little slow to start off, but I'm hoping the last 9 games of the season, kind of last 8-9 games of the season, the second half of the season, he gives us 4 to 6 sacks, and that is going to, show us what he's really capable of doing in 2023. But I'm excited to see what Chase Young, can do, and we're still a couple, a month and a half kind of away from the start of the season. So, things could definitely change. Chase Young, maybe he comes back earlier than expected and he's ready for week 1, or maybe, hopefully not, but maybe he has a setback and he's out until October. So really, it's very early, but it's kind of looking like Chase Young might miss a couple games, but we will see. And then Logan Thomas, kind of some not great news about Chase Young, at least for me, because I kind of thought he would be maybe ready for that for week 1 or maybe week 2 or week 3, but we'll see. Logan Thomas, we were a little bit more pessimistic about, but John Keim says that he thinks that Logan Thomas has a good chance to return before Chase Young and has a chance to be ready for week 1, but he said they're going to find out a lot more in August during training camp. And, we'll see, because if he's saying he has a good chance to return before Chase Young, and, they think that, Chase Young, has a chance to return mid-September, but let's say just, to play it safe, like kind of late September, well, then Logan Thomas, if he has a good chance to return before him, then maybe he's back for week 1 or week 2, and that's good news for the Commanders offense for sure. And I thought he would be out for longer because he had the ACL injury, I believe, almost like 2-3 weeks after Chase Young had his injury. He's also like, I don't know, 8 years younger, something like that. Chase Young, or older, sorry, Logan Thomas is much older, and he also tore his meniscus and a couple other things. But from what John Keim was saying, that Chase Young's, surgery was much more invasive. He had a different type of procedure, so maybe that's why it's adding a little bit to the recovery time of Chase Young. But again, for both these guys, you don't want to rush them back. They have, with Logan Thomas, like John Bates can hold things down for a week or two. Same thing hopefully with Cole Turner, and they have some other good guys with some potential, on as their next tight ends. We'll see maybe Armani Rogers, Samus Reyes, AGG, Curtis Hodges. Like there's a lot of, they're probably not going to play, but I really like what John Bates and Cole Turner can bring to this team. And I like Logan Thomas more, but those guys can play solid for a couple games if Logan Thomas has to miss the first couple weeks of the season against the Jaguars and then against the Lions. They'll be fine. Chase Young, though, is more important because obviously he plays a more important position and he has more potential than Logan Thomas, but also they don't have great depth at the end. So if he's out for a couple weeks or 3-4 weeks, well, then you have maybe Efe Obada or James Smith-Williams or someone else, Casey Toohill, where you really don't want them to be playing more than like 5 to 15% of the snaps. The guy's going to be playing 75+% of the snaps, and you don't really want that. So I don't know. I'm hoping Chase Young can be ready for week 1. But again, even if he is, we got to kind of lower our expectations for the first half of the season, because he's not going to be 100%. It's going to take him at the very minimum until the second half of the season to be fully healthy. So that's just something that Washington fans have to, just keep in mind with, if Chase Young starts off slow next year, even if he's playing week 1, week 2, that's why. But we got to judge him on week 8, week 9, week 10. Some people might say, well, Nick Bosa had 16 sacks last year. Well, he tore his ACL in 2020 in week 2. So, that's like an 8-9 week difference. So, it's a big difference, and it helps a lot to have those 8-9 weeks extra of recovery, and it was a different procedure. Chase Young's took a little bit longer, or is more invasive, sorry. So that's why his recovery time is a little bit longer, and it was later in the season. But, both these guys, like we said earlier, very important pieces for the Commanders, and we're hoping that these guys can be ready for week 1. But it's looking like Logan Thomas is going to be ready before Chase Young, and Chase Young has a chance to be, there for week 3 maybe. And maybe they don't have to put him on IR. I know a lot of people actually thought that Logan Thomas would be out. A lot of people, I think most people, thought Logan Thomas would be on the PUP list. I did not think so. I thought he would probably miss the first couple of weeks. And, it looks like he might be back before them, but still could miss those couple weeks. But that's kind of good news, in my opinion. Logan Thomas possibly being ready for week 1. And then Chase Young, I was more optimistic than others, kind of thinking he would be ready for week 1. But maybe it's looking like, even his camp is saying, like, we're aiming for mid-September. So, and also they don't want to set unrealistic expectations out there saying, okay, he's going to be ready by September 1st or whatever, because then if he's not, well, then it just makes things look worse. But if let's say you say, oh, he's going to be back by September, week 3, week 4, and he's back by week 1, then that's great. So, overall, okay news. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Give me your predictions on when you guys think each of these players will be back. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.